do proper lane assignments and take them out. I would challenge Sin to do that. There's a big risk, though, being 1-0 down, and maybe not a risk that they're willing to take.
Well, we'll see exactly what does happen as we do jump into Champion Select. Direwolves now with the first ban will be the Kindred away from Juves. Sin to take off their next champion of choice.
It was the Fizz and Zed bans last game as well, which took one of the champions from Rymeister's pocket.
Yeah, Vladimir as well, so it was very Fantix focused.
And you kind of, eat off your own plate while you're banning from them.
Now Sin as well. Maokai once again hits the bench, so want to make sure that Sin don't get that super tank towards the top side of the map as Rise. He's going to be taken off the board. Zed, like you said.
I agree with the Maokai ban from Direwolves if Chippies is going to continue to play champions like Aurelia and Jax. And the reason that I actually agree with that is simply because there aren't many champions that build a frozen heart anymore. And I feel like that is invaluable against a lot of these split pushers, given the amount of attack speed that they get from a single item now.
Could have almost been, like, Squiggle could have almost gone for a Frozen Heart, like on Aurelia or something like that instead.
Well, Aurelia does go Frozen Heart, yeah, one of the few. But again, you got Trundle who needs the Iceborne Gauntlet.
Yeah. Interesting stuff as Direwolves now have their first pick. The ban's exactly the same as game number one. As of course, I did mess that up. I thought that the Zed was banned on the other side, but it was of course the Direwolves that took that one off the board, and Rise was what Sin decided to go for. 17 seconds to go. We'll see what Direwolves really do prioritize.
I'd say the Karma, not the Janna, if they're going to pick a support.
Yeah, I thought they had the better side.
But the Lucian as well, also worth looking at. It was a great performance from Raze in number one.
Rek'Sai for the pick away from Juves. We have seen Juves be very successful on the champion, has been one of his stronger points, as now he will need to deviate. But Sybil's Elise was fantastic in game number one. We'll see whether he can be the same kind of presence on the Rek'Sai in game two.
It just me, or is this music much more motivating right now?
Yeah, I'm really motivated.
Amping me up for some reason. But I like the Rek'Sai lock-in from Sybil. Taking it not only from Juves, as you mentioned, but a champion that he can definitely play. It's pretty hard to not be good at Rek'Sai. It's like Maokai for top laners.
Yep. Whoa, Nidalee going to be locked in, and Squiggle takes away the Alistair. You mentioned the fact that, Nidalee a little bit more dangerous in the jungle on the first clear, but still relatively strong.
I don't understand the Alistar at the moment. I know Rogue is quite a good Alistar, but Braum just feels like the better version of it, and even then Braum's been pushed out of the meta by ranged poke-heavy champions, and Braum at least denies those if he were to be picked by putting up his shield. So what that says to me is by going for the Alistar, they're either committing to once again an Orianna mid lane and looking for a continued Wombo style, or they're playing a hyper carrier, assassin-esque mid laner with a wave clear AD carry like the Ezreal or the Sivir to complement a 1-3-1, which would be matching what Direwolves were doing.
Yeah, Direwolves actually looking for the Braum themselves. Could honestly go back to the Karma if they felt like it, but 7 seconds to go, looking at a very powerful bottom lane for now, and Sybil's going to lock that one away. Fantix grabs the Lucian, so the jungle and bottom lane already there for the Direwolves, looking very strong. And Sin, we'll see what they decide to pick up next, just because this is an interesting looking comp so far, with the Nidalee and Alistar prioritized so heavily.
Yeah, in terms of pick order as well, you probably still would not look towards your mid lane until last. Give the counter option to Rymeister, your big carry.
Wow.
And there it is.
Yeah, so Shen going to be locked in. We saw Shen actually doing quite well internationally against things like Aurelia.
Yeah, it did its job, absolutely. You get to a lackluster damage output, however, from that Shen as the time progresses. I think this actually cements the initial thought, however, that Sin might be looking towards a 1-3-1 type of strategy. They've got the hyper tank, someone to save other people from a split push scenario as well.
Yeah.
You can imagine that Squiggle ulting Rymeister if he's split pushing on somebody would be pretty dangerous. Juves to heal people in the middle lane, and they've got Raps to wave clear with that Sivir. So an assassin would honestly make a lot of sense here from Sin. Direwolves can just... Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Direwolves can just go standard.
Oh, we'll see what they do want to pick up. Of course, hovering the Victor for now, but Chippy's still yet to stake his claim as to what he wants to do into this Shen. Zyra.
That wouldn't make sense.
No, it certainly wouldn't. Chippies, please do it. Oh, God, yes! The Chippies Aurelia finally graces us with its presence on Summoner's Rift. we are going to see it. Of course, we saw it just once. It was in a losing series, I believe, at the very end of the last split. But now that Aurelia has her new and improved Trinity Force, see whether he's going to be able to make that one work. Of course, we saw it today already.
Let's just like preface this by saying that your excitement is due to the fact that Chippies is an Aurelia main.
Yes.
Historically is an Aurelia main. You don't just have to yell at it.
But look, Rymeister's been listening to the desk, and it is going to be the Diana locked in.
I'm just going to say I straight called this before Champion Select started. I actually did. I like the composition. I think it's exactly what Sin should be doing, putting Rymeister on something that can stop any kind of split-pushing threat. Right now, with what Direwolves have actually constructed as a team, I don't have a split-pushing threat besides Chippies.
Yep.
Raze tends to be the one inclined towards that, and low-range AD carry against the Diana. If a Q connects, you're dead.
Very true. However, Fantix is on that coveted Victor pick this time around. We have seen him play very well in the champion before, but he's going to be far less mobile. And Rymeister, of course, loves his teleport on that Diana. Plays with his health bar very well in lane as well to stay up with it. Direwolves is going to be playing differently this time around. We'll see whether they can actually change up the style in answer to this crazy amount of response potential out of the Shen, the fact that the Diana is there for the split push. Shen, of course, also going to be doing it himself. Of course, so tanky. Builds a Sunfire Cape, just burns down creeps over and over again and can always be there at a moment's notice. It's a frightening comp.
Yeah, I think it is a pretty scary comp, but Direwolves have shown that they are competent in playing more than one style, and now we get to see the second of the two reflected.
Well, we'll see how it is going to go. As ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear from you. Use that hashtag DWin if you think that the Direwolves can close out the series in 2-0 fashion, or the hashtag SinWin if you think that Sin can fight back in this game number 2. Give us our full 6 games for the night, which is always a good idea.
I think it's safe to say that looking at the drafts, I think Sin have definitely won the skin battle. That means they win the game, right? We're going all the way.
I think so. And of course, Infernal Diana. I haven't seen that skin in game.
It's the best.
Yet.
That's the only reason I said that. Infernal Diana is amazing.
The splash art looks incredibly cool, and I'm very much looking forward to when it actually is on the Rift, because, yeah, as a massive Diana fan myself, I've mastered 4 champions so far, Rusty. One of them is Diana, so I'm extraordinarily excited. Can't play it very well. Don't grin at me like that.
No, because you said mastered, and then just said you can't play it
No, that's mastery level 5 is what I meant. You just have to play it a whole bunch. You don't need to understand how it works. But Sin, definitely do, because Rymeister has played that one a heck of a lot. Thank God I managed to bridge out of that one.
Yeah, look, I do want to quickly touch on the
There's
fact
the zoom.
that Sin's team composition once more feels very much them. They've finally dropped off the Orianna hype train. And I'm personally quite relieved to see that. But on the flip side, Direwolves, we know that they're a 1-3-1 team, but they're also capable of the 1-4 type of style. Yeah. They're not exclusive to a split push heavy build, but they excel the most when at least one person on their team is. So Chippy's picking up the slack on that Aurelia. We'll be able to do that nicely.
And it looks like Fervor of Battle pretty popular on the top side of the map as well. Squiggles decided to go with it on the Shen. Wants to be able to go toe-to-toe with Chippies.
Well, there's an auto-attack heavy champion as well, Shen. Remember the sword goes through people, you get empowered autos. Fervor amps that one up, and Aurelia being a prolonged auto-attack trading champion, unless you're an AD carry, in which case you die in 2 seconds. Shen will still value from the Fervor of Battle as much as Aurelia will.
That's a good point. We'll see how Squiggle's going to play this one out, because, of course, that dodge field that you put down is pretty silly. We'll be able to help him in these trades. But so far, it looks like a lane swap has been initiated here by Sin, moving Raps and Rogue towards the top side of the map, not wanting to go toe-to-toe with the Braum Lucian lane.
Makes sense. They're an Alistar lane. Sivir is a one-man army. Makes you fight minions, but there's only so many minions that you can afford to fight before it starts to become too drastic. And level 1 is a null and void lane for an Alistar.
You can see Fantix has decided to start with the Q there as well. Wants to make sure that he has some pressure here onto Rymeister.
Early rotation.
Yeah.
Very early rotation.
Ringo's regret. Throws down the Winter's Bite. Doesn't find Rymeister, but still does get those concussive blows as Rogue wants to get himself a Pulverize. Knocks Fantix into the air as Juves has got the level 2. Will be able to pants on top. Oh my god.
Now Regret's in trouble.
Of course. Yeah. Double flashes out from Direwolves, but they keep their lives.
And even Squiggle rocks up in this middle lane just saying hello. And a lot of emphasis actually placed on Rymeister to no surprises. as he is using his health bar nicely to try and control these minion waves, keep Fantix busy, which he absolutely is.
Oh, yeah.
He's 5 CS down, honestly, already. And he doesn't have a teleport in this lane, so if he recalls with the lacking health that he currently has, he'll fall further behind a Diana in a winning matchup until level 6.
Definitely a bad news story. And now that he doesn't have flash as well, you could imagine that Juve's probably thinking about making his way back around again as CBLOL hanging out.
The Rymeister does still have his flash.
Well, there's the exhaust. Rymeister getting taken down very low. The knock-up comes in. Red buff is going to be there. First blood goes to Fantix as Juve's not able to find his way back in. Bounces over the top. There's the flash knock-up as Juve's has to flash his way out. Fantix waiting for cooldowns. Gets a death ray in there, and red buff not going to be enough. This is dangerous. Whoa. They want more. The Sin Fido most certainly a thing as Rymeister teleports back into the lane, but there's so many minions and he's only level 2.
Yeah, has to back away Rymeister, but naturally that teleport giving a slight edge. He's going to lose all of his health, to be fair. Look, the end result is a mistake from Sin, simply because the communication was there, the Juves was coming, and he saved his flash, he baited it for as long as possible, and actually ends up dying for it.
And meanwhile, a lane swap was happening.
Yeah.
You see both of those towers have fallen down. Fantix now with control back in this lane.
He wants to hold the wave, but he can't.
Oh, Juves still wants more as Rymeister comes over the top. Fantix is so dead. Juves just grabs it with a takedown. Overly aggressive play from the mid laner out of the Direwolves, but will now be able to at least grab some items.
You can understand where he was going there, Fantix, as well, but doesn't pay off for him. As Rymeister doesn't get the kill, but has a slight CS advantage. Juves gets the kill. Direwolves are responding. May die here, honestly, Sybil. That's a bit deep.
Yeah, wants to tunnel his way out. There's the headbutt Rogue with the pulverize there as well, and Raps is able to pick up the kill. Some aggressive positioning out of every member of both teams right now.
Yeah, it's a battle of trades and then catching those trades. We're actually at standard lanes again. Enacted by Direwolves. Against a blue buff Sivir now. Good luck.
Oh god. That is terrifying. Has a CS advantage as well, does Raps. And it'll be very useful once he hits that level 6 mark. So far, things going great for Sin, despite First Blood going to Fantix.
Yeah, all things considered, I think we even out, to be honest, on the map. The big discrepancy actually between top laners could add up. Shouldn't, but could.
You can see Squeeble not going to find the taunt as Juves throws out the spear. Doesn't get chippies, but he flashes out of the way anyway. There's the Blade Surge back in. Equilibrium Strike comes down. CBLOL, of course, waiting around, wants to get the tunnel on top of someone. No one going to fall. Chippy's just losing a lot of his health bar for now, and he's only level 3.
But he needs to be cautious as well, because he wants to get these minions when they crash on the turret. He doesn't know exactly where Juves is. Vision should suffice, however, and Aurelia will catch up now in farm. Very quickly, again, everything now evens out across the rift.
Rymeister as well, once again found by Fantix. Power Cascade keeping him relatively healthy here in this lane. Double Doran's Ring as well as that dagger sitting there. So Nash's Tooth.
That's out of range of the pink ward.
Frustrating.
That's what you get for placing it over the wall. This is a 3-man rotation to the middle lane. He's level 6.
Oh my god, yeah, Rymeister right in amongst it already. There's the pulverize, but Rymeister's the one that picks up the kill. Sin know exactly what they want.
They absolutely do, and the timing could not have been better, honestly. Rymeister ticking that 6. They won't get the turret in this wave, but Fantix doesn't have teleport to compensate, and Chippies can't use his because he's dealing with a big stack of minions. Big positives, honestly, now for Sin as they come into this second game, and as if the Diana just makes them all feel more confident, they look revitalized.
Yeah, this is the comfortable Sin that we remember. As they are going to be able to take down this outer turret in the mid lane very easily. Fantix no opportunity to get back there. 52 to 35 is the CS in favor of Rymeister. And it's a big gold lead as well. Just over 1,000 gold at 7 minutes is nothing to scoff at. And it's the map control here for Sin that's very important.
And they're setting themselves up nicely. CBLOL is still being very active in trying to move around. Oh my god.
Well, Fantix is going to be able to flash here as the gravity field does get a nice double stun. Trades Probably one of his summoner spells for a dragon.
And that's still a reasonably positive trade, all things considered, for Direwolves. And a flash for a Drake, and it's an Infernal. You can't complain. But the emphasis from Sin. They're trying to tilt Fantix.
Well, it's almost looking like it's working here as he's finally hit level 6. Does have himself his Chaos Storm, as now Chippy's forced away from his turret with Juves hanging out there. He's going to be able to get around, pick up these minions with the Blade Surge. Be fine for now.
Yeah, and everything's settling nicely, honestly, for Sin. Direwolves with a slight disadvantage. They're actually still quite content. They just need to get some items. Farm it up, but already sitting in a side lane is Rymeister.
Yeah, you know that when he's feeling good, starts the split early. 8.5 minutes into this game. See who is actually going to be able to answer him as well, as it looks like the Dial's bottom lane might be heading down there.
And as Squiggle hits level 6, it becomes even harder to deal with him because the 1v2 becomes a 2v2. And the Diana is massive. Massive.
Yeah. Sybil has hit level 6 though, so Void Rush will at least be able to move him towards his turrets. Tunnels. Relatively good news.
Yeah, and it's also one of the ways the Direwolves will have to look towards to combat the split pushing from Rymeister, is potentially having Sybil to deal with Squiggle, maybe, and then have Chippies actually go to the Rymeister lane. There aren't a lot of positive options here.
Regrets level 3 for the level 8 Rymeister. Thank goodness he didn't face check that brush.
He'll catch up soon enough in experience once he stays in a lane and commits to one, but because they're being rotated around the map, even this. Cool.
Oh my goodness, he does get stunned up as Rymeister is going to find Fantix once again. Dials do rotate around as Rymeister flashes in. On the Hunt has been popped, but this is overly aggressive, honestly, out of Sin. Throwing out a lot of cooldowns. Don't quite find too much. Now Boomerang comes down, Chippies has made his way over.
And they just are yet to see the Lucian. Fantix is the target. Now 1 and 3. And it's constantly getting Rymeister further ahead. Whilst he has no teleport now, he may still commit to a side lane. And he can 1v1 Raze, who needs to show respect to that fact. And Sin just looks so much better than we're used to now. Overperforming from expectations in the OPL. This is the Sin that we've missed for quite some time.
Exactly. Squiggle now makes his way back to base. We'll see what he is able to pick up, whether it's the Sunfire Cape.
And it all started with junglers. Like, Juves is by no means a bad jungler. But game number 1, Sybil just ran him around the map. Game number 2, Juves is one step ahead.
Yeah. And Rymeister has kill pressure. He's not on Orianna. He's able to make his plays that he's so known for.
To be fair, Juves level 2 and 3 ganks, which is like old school Sin-esque.
But Dials, by all means, not out of it yet. It's less than 2,000 gold the lead, but it is very early in this game, and Sin have set up these win conditions for themselves.
They're about to look at diving phase, I think. It's unculling.
Yeah, Rymeister sneaks into the brush. Raze says, nope, 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 nope. Rogue doesn't quite have an ultimate just yet.
Gives it the big nope button. Direwolves now still have to work around Chippies. Needs his Trinity Force. Mid lane needs to, like, he needs a doctor.
I was looking for one in the form of Raps here. He's still in the level 7.
He's zoned constantly. Even with the pink ward that they've established, it still feels threatened. He's against the Sivir in lane as well. Like, gets from bad to worse. At least he's farming. One thing Fantix does.
Oh yeah.
Religiously.
He's actually waiting. Juves heads over the top. Oh, that Blade Surge almost gets him over the wall. Squiggle going to help out as they start up the Rift Herald as well.
Yeah, I can only commend Sin at this point in the game because they are just playing so much better.
Yeah.
It's a game of who can pull teams around the map at the moment, especially between these teams. They have a lot of similarities. Love those split pushes. And so far in the second game, a reformed Sin.
Squiggle going to grab himself that Rift Herald buff, so will be definitely tanky. That extra 4% damage reduction. Raps just keeps sending minions into Fantix. Defray, of course, pretty capable of clearing out these minion waves, and he has managed to claw himself back.
No one's here, Raze.
Yeah, well, I'd be scared too.
Absolutely. I'd be very frightened. Still no items completed for him. Lucian, once he gets one, might feel confident, but this is not the same Raze that we're used to seeing.
Oh no.
Very passive, very cautious, and he knows he has to be. Because there is a wild, infernal Diana walking around exploding people on Summoner's Rift. I think he can 1v2 here, to be honest with you.
Oh, he's level 9. Good God. Start up these minions with Sybil having his red buff contested, but not going to be claimed. Going to be able to make his way out.
Yeah, he claims his own. But still the advance is being made by Sin, working into the jungle, placing that deep vision, setting themselves up. Because the 1-3-1 has no answer from Direwolves in this second game.
Picks himself up a spear there. As you can see, he's just waiting for that cannon creep to be perfectly fine. Be able to lock that one down, and Death Ray is starting to be able to clear out these minions.
But this is still the problem. Oh, wow.
Yeah, teleport in from Chippies, cancels it.
No way.
Meister moves out of the way.
But the Drake's up as well, so they just cancelled his teleport. He effectively wasted that, and Sin can just start it. He needed to complete the teleport simply to like pressure this objective. Now they concede. Unless he can somehow stop Squiggle from ulting or teleporting. Or both. And he's not able to. They actually just walk into the top lane.
Yeah, Sybil just going to get out of there. So turret is still going to fall towards the bottom side. So teleport slightly wasted here from Chippies. You're right. Sybil is heading over there. Fantix creating pressure in the mid lane. Gets himself back to even, at least on that farm number.
Decent map sense from Sybil, to be fair. That red buff wasn't even spawned when he first used his ultimate. Obviously he's not going straight for it, but getting what he can. Counter jungling. Sin's still one step ahead though throughout this second.
Yeah, Juice of course. The 1-0-1 has himself a needlessly large rod as well as the Tracker's Knife with the Runic Echo's enchantment.
Big old Nidalee.
Oh yeah, that's a large Kit Kat. But Fantix getting bigger. Now back in the lead as far as that farm. That's not really what we're looking at because Rymeister, he already has his ability to split.
Farm is not equal to pressure. And right now upgrading his Hex Core with a Negatron Cloak does nothing compared to the likes of Rymeister, who is level 11 and can assassinate anybody on the enemy team. The Braum and Rek'Sai are reasonably getting towards a tanky stage. Regret being under-leveled doesn't help. Sybil's probably the only tank that can withstand him. And that's a very relative term. Withstand him does not mean survive forever. It means don't die instantly, because everyone else can.
It is at least Tremor Sense doing some work for Sybil, spotting people walking around his jungle. Regret actually going to get found by Rogue. Does headbutt him back towards Raps as teleport's coming in from Sin. They just want this inner turret, and they're going to get it as well. Gravity Field goes down. Rymeister's just going to explode Fantix. There's the Chaos Storm down, and Fantix finally falls, and Rymeister still alive for the moment. Ray's going to get collapsed on, and the double kill comes in from Raps. Regret throws out the Unbreakable, but he's still hunted. And Juves going to launch himself on top of him, and that is going to be that. Juves takes down Regret. That's 3 kills for nothing, and Sin keep piling towards the inhibitor turrets.
Big kills from Sin again. They explode the gold lead to unreasonably large amounts. And now in the second game, they are just dismantling the Direwolves team, except for Chippies, because Rymeister had nothing left and should not have been there.
That was a bit optimistic.
But that's soulless in a small detail, because Sin are working from mid to top, and they're getting objective after objective, and the gold lead grows. That's a simple blemish from Rymeister, and that's about it.
But the flanking teleport has come in here from Chippies. He wants to try and stop them from doing anything. Flashes forward, does get the equilibrium strike onto Raps. That was super cool, yeah. But it's a nice headbutt from Rogue. It is going to get Sybil out of there. This Alistar play is beautiful right now.
That was still the coolest play from Chippies that was essential to keep himself alive that I've ever seen. He just ran the gauntlet of so many people and just, oh my god, that was great. I'm so happy by that. Like, it didn't even mean anything, but that was the best.
Just shows that he still has the Aurelion mechanics. Squiggle is going to answer this push in the mid lane that Direwolves were able to answer with. That is 5 turrets to 1 as Sin of 6,000 gold ahead. 17.5 minutes.
Well, that's all the difference is. It's 2 to 7 and it's 5 to 1 in turrets. It's just such a scary prospect. We spoke to the saving grace potentially of Direwolves being this one member of the team. But they can just teleport elsewhere now when Chippies isn't available and kill everybody else. 4v4s, 4v5s. Doesn't really matter at this stage. Sin are just too big.
Yeah, and if you manage to kill them somewhere, then they'll just take all of your other stuff elsewhere.
Yeah, and still it looks like a very refined and improved team.
Yeah.
From like the first to the second game somehow.
I feel like they've come out of the hyperbolic time chamber, you know?
People don't feed in that chamber.
Oh, Boomerang, he's going to fly through, but Chippies does grab himself the red buff. Juice pouncing over. Still wants to be able to find more here as Sybil does get a double knock-up. On the hunt has been popped. There's a lot of damage out of this Sin roster. As Winter's Bite does find the mark, but everyone has to respect Rymeister. Direwolves, they do manage to grab the red buff. Rymeister can make his way in onto Sybil. Uses the ultimate, still has the reset.
Super aggro from Rymeister.
Headbutt, Pulverize, Fantix. Woof. Scary.
Now, there's nothing to take really on the map, but Sin's pressuring heavily simply because of the top lane wave. Drawing attention for Raze now is the target of choice. Defending this, doable given the size of the wave right now. But they have to start rotating members soon. Chippies can't do this alone.
Yeah. See Rymeister without a teleport, but everyone's coming down here. The ultimate comes in from Regret. It's a decent taunt, but there's a massive knock-up from Rogue. Chaos Storm comes in. The ultimate's down from Rogue. Squiggle is going to fall as Sybil picks up the kill. Regret just backs away. His job done. And now they have to pick up the rest of their base as Rymeister has got some time on this inhibitor turret.
Yeah, Sin just try and stop the recalls, watch the rotations, maybe help Rymeister out where applicable. But he's not done, he wants the turret.
Yeah, Equilibrium Strike comes in, Raze is going to be able to take him down, but the turret falls, and that is exactly what he wanted. And inner turret is going to go down as well. So Sin, bring it up to 7 turrets and a 7,000 gold lead.
Yeah, the map play, the push and pull, honestly, from Sin looking very strong right now. This is a gold lead that they should be able to withhold and actually maintain throughout the rest of this game if they continue to play as crisp as they currently are. They might be taking us all the way to 6 games tonight.
Damn right. Static Shiv now done for Raps. It just feels like a late game insurance policy, honestly, because they have to care about Rymeister. They have to deal with Squiggle, who's able to get that stand united where when he needs to, he can split at the same time.
They didn't even use it for Rymeister. Scumbag.
Yeah, probably still would have died.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not about that. It's about what it means.
He hasn't used it this game.
Yeah. Not what Sybil did for Chippies last game. That was beautiful.
And Direwolves still looking to make desperate plays, trying to hit who they can. Honestly, vision control is the only thing they have left. They have enough of it. I don't know if it'll win them a team fight.
Well, Rymeister has the Zhonya's Hourglass here. Sybil has started up the Ocean Drake. Squiggle over to the side, but they all decide to back away. Backs come in immediately. Chippies realizes that he has to answer this Shen. Almost has his Moral of Malmortius done, which will be helpful against both Shen and Rymeister on his dynamic.
There we go. Easy. Just play it slow. Use your advantages. Regret, you may not want to be there.
That was optimistic play out of the Braum, but he's going to be able to back away just fine. See Chippy's now picking up that wave. 2-0-1. Aurelia is strong. Is it the same kind of strong as what Sin have been able to offer here? Because it just seems like Direwolves don't have the answers.
I guess that was the key phrase you just used there, though. Like, Aurelia is strong, but Sin is strong.
Yeah.
So a one-man army will have to do crazy amounts of work to compensate for what is a 1-4 mid laner right now, Fantix. He's being picked on. And so him being 1-4 is not a bad sign for him. It's the fact that Sin just wanted him dead so desperately that they just continued to work towards him. Sybil didn't give the attention that it deserves post the initial team fights or the initial skirmishes that broke out there. And so Vision was utilized by Rogue and Juice to continue to force summoner spells, push him further behind, get extra kills. That's a major difference. Rogue somehow putting in a lot of work compared to the Braum.
Yeah, this Alistar really coming up trumps because they hit him. They didn't show any of this laning phase. Regret. He gets snagged by a spear. Juves jumps on top, throws down a combo. That's another spear as well.
2 big items for Juves. Nothing but tatters really available for Regret. He's just a walking door. When the door's not available, he's just nothing. He's a ragdoll.
Well, you can see now Sin working on their next angle of attack. Viol's unable to find a way to push in. And the Baron buff completely unlooked at. Oh no.
The synergy accidentally too good. That's both of their blue trinkets as well. It also indicates they have no vision. Sin can look towards starting at any point that they would like right now. The Nidalee can heal people up and...
Wow, there's the flash pulverize. Regret is going to get headbutted to safety after that one comes in as Stand United's on top of Rymeister. Finds Fantix, but it's a nice flash. Chaos Storm not doing too much work as Sybil does get a nice double knockup, but Raids gets speared off to the side. Shutdown comes in for Chippies as he really wants to make this one happen. Raps takes a lot of damage. And will Chippies have enough buttons remaining? No, he won't as the shutdown comes in and Raids just not going to be able to get back in. Sybil was able to get out towards the bottom side, but that's an open inhibitor. And Sin just moved towards it immediately.
Yeah, take the open inhib, bait the Baron fight. Rogue looked for it onto Braum. But that didn't really matter because Rymeister was already hitting the flank. This Diana is a monster running around. Look at the vision as well that Sin have set themselves up with. They can just recall and rinse and repeat that Baron as much as they would like, honestly. This is very impressive stuff from Sin. It is slow play, but the slow play is absolutely working.
Most certainly is. Sybil able to take down a Raptor camp. That is definitely good news. Clear out a ward or two as Rymeister, not a lot of mana, uses the rest of it on that Power Cascade, but will be able to shove this minion wave up and then get himself back to base.
Yeah, getting back to base, so having the teleport available if it comes to it. Continuing the split push as well with his big items. Might actually be the makings of it. No, there you go, full Void Star.
My god.
All that magic resistance that the Direwolves have stacked. Oh. That's a big old flank.
That is gigantic. Everyone converging onto Fantix as he just gets obliterated. Rymeister needed no one, but everyone was there nonetheless. Stand behind me. They are going to lock down Regret here with the taunt, but Squiggle just doesn't have his team there in time. Chippies actually wants to jump on top of Rymeister right now. The Zhonya's comes in, but it is going to be able to stop that of the culling. Rymeister now jumping forward. Chippies in trouble. Nice equilibrium strike, but he's been exhausted. And Rymeister is going to be able to lock that one down. Juve throws in a spear. He's able to pick up a random Regret. And Sin, this is a completely different team. 10,000 gold in the lead. They're looking to finish the game.
Yeah, 25 minutes and 30 seconds is all it seems to take for Sin right now. And they just waltz into the base of Direwolves after taking them all apart. And as if like clockwork, the reason this even happened was because Rymeister played Diana and 1v1 Fantix to end the game.
Just ridiculous. And Sin, a transformed roster right now. We saw the Chippies Aurelia, something that we've been really excited about. He had some super sick plays. Direwolves just didn't seem to have any answer to what Sin brought.
It was an early game power play from Sin. They went back to what works for them, that comfort being camp Rymeister, get him fed, let him split push and work around his teleports, win the game from that. And this is the old Sin that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch as well as we throw it back to the desk to break down that game.
Thanks so much, Atlas. And with that, Sin do bring us back to 1-1, and it's going to a sixth and final game for the OPL night in week number 4. And you know, Frosk, I want to give you pretty much an open mic. Like, where do you want to start? Lane swap, the camping mid, the 1-3-1? Like, just go for it.
First and foremost, Sin, where have you been for the first... Like, this is the Sin that we expected. Rymeister gets an assassin play. They play a split push. They open up with the lane swap. They play it really well. They ganked Fantix, I think, 17 million times. If I was Fantix, I'd be like, I'm done. It's over, boys. Like, that last TP just to put the cherry on top where he just sprints up mid lane and Fantix like, whatever.
All right, cool. So like, let's actually set the scene because they do kick it off with a lane swap and 4 people invade into the mid lane. They're able to pick up a kill. And, you know, I think that Rusty said it first. Sybil thought he'd rescue the lane when he gets the return kill, but they're just unrelenting in snowballing Rymeister. Then he gets kicked down into your lane, Frey. You know, as an AD carry and a support duo, you're like, all right, cool, we kind of went equal in this lane. Lane swap went all right. Then you're going to, like, 4-1 Diana deal with. How does that go?
I mean, you pretty much just completely zoned. Like, you saw Raze, he was like, Dyna was just hitting the tower and it's like, I can't do anything. Because even with the support there, without an exhaust, Dyna's just going to kill your AD instantly and just walk away.
And you're saying maybe that was a mistake, the fact that they didn't take double exhaust, because you knew the game was going to get to that state.
I mean, I think both teams recognized the minute Dyna was picked, they were like, yep, the game's going to be mid-centric. Everyone's going to camp mid. So I'm really confused at why Braum did take the Ignite and not just exhaust to shut down Rymeister completely.
Yeah, it was a little bit perplexing. And then you see that Chippies, he gets involved. Chippies is a fantastic Aurelia, by the way. If you look at the little things the man does on the champion, very impressive. But even he, towards the end of the game, was just like, well, this guy's just like way too much. I can't even go into the 1v1 versus him. And that was the ultimate game plan. I mean, throw the Victor at the Shen, just nullify that because he stops the channel and make sure it's a 1v1 versus the Aurelia and the Diana, but it just never got to that stage of the game.
Yeah, lane assignments were really well done by Sen. Direwolves tried their best, but like again, this is the Sen that we have been waiting for, and I'm just wondering what took them so long to show up.
All right, cool. And on the other side of the rift, you know, your Direwolves, you've picked a control mage, something that we've said they've always been able to do incredibly well, and it just all goes pear-shaped. Like, if you're Fantix, you know, you've been camped out heavily in a game. Is that a mid lane? Do you just say, you know, give me the assassin and response match fire with fire? Can they play a conservative, like something that's a little bit further back? What are your thoughts on that?
You've got two options. So you either ban the Diana and make sure that Rai gets on something uncomfortable again, like the Orianna, or you throw the gauntlet and you look towards that assassin. And the beauty of Fantix is that he can do both. I would love to see an assassin battle and see him go toe-to-toe.
All right, Fantix, if you're listening, the cry has been put out by Frostgrove. However, guys, we do have to go for a break before we get into game number 3 between Sin and Direwolves. Don't go anywhere.